Sometimes I get terrified sailing.
The Chesapeake Bay is one of those cruising grounds that sailors dream about. From anchorages to open waters, it has been a dream for us. But getting here has taken over 2,000 miles, and we did it in a short time. The Gulf of Mexico in June, around Florida through July, and then up the East Coast in the month of August. And so we've had some scary experiences along the way.
Sometimes I get terrified sailing, but I have discovered a few things along the way that have allowed me to do this, and I want to share those with you today. Number one, the healing of the boat. It's a monohull. It's going to heal. If we had not been educators for the past few years and we had $500,000 to spend on a catamaran, sure, this part probably would not even come up in my list. But we are on a monohull and it heals, and it terrifies me sometimes. Or should I say, it used to terrify me. I've watched Cadence in action. We've been through some pretty rough seas with this boat, and I've watched how when it's healed over, it has like this little stopping point, and I've learned to watch and be like, okay, it's not gonna go beyond that point. You know, we're okay. It moves to that point and then it just kind of stops and it sits there, and then it becomes more of a ride. Like you're sitting there and you find your spot and you get in your groove and the boat's healed over, and it just kind of just goes up and down, and you just have to learn to sit back and enjoy the ride. Number two, storms. Storms were never a factor. We lived on the boat for a year and we learned to sail on Cadence, and we went out in the bay and we took some trips to Port Aransas, down toward Corpus Christi, Freeport. But when we left Kima to begin our journey, we ran into Tropical Storm Claudette. And if you remember correctly, I was sitting in the floor, terrified, hanging on for dear life. After that storm, anytime we have dark clouds on the horizon, I get almost like panicked, terrified. Like, I can't do this, I can't do this. Whenever we hit a storm, all these things need to be done. You know, we've got to trim sheets, we've got to, be on the main sheet, the Genoa sheets. Some of the cushions need to come downstairs. If we might need life jackets or tethers, and all these things would just be piled up. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I need a role. I need to know when I see a storm coming, we have to stay calm, and these are the things that I can do. And so my role has become, I'm going to man the main sheet. Matt's going to handle the helm. He's going to handle the Genoa sheets. My job specifically is I'm going to do the main sheet. And as we need to, tack or whatever, I'm the one that's on that. I also grab the cushions and I put them downstairs, or have Olivia, hand up the life jackets or whatever. So we all have our roles, and that has really helped to ease some of that stress and anxiety for me when I see a storm coming. And it's gotten a lot better recently. That causes this terror for me is we were coming out of one of the sounds on our way to Coinjock, North Carolina. And we have all of the sails out. It's really gusty wind, probably 24 knots of wind. And Cadence is heeled over, and our buddy boat radios us and is like, hey, Cadence's bottom is sticking out of the water. So I'm already terrified of heeling. We know this. Trying to manage that and get into my groove. And we're in this small channel. We can't get out of the channel. So that kind of terrifies me in the ICW. So, and when we're heeled over like that, letting it out and knowing that we don't have to be sideways in that groove. Anyway, I hope that helps. The fourth thing is barges. It used to be that every time I saw a barge, most of the time we see barges in the intercoastal waterway. And we had some experiences with them where it gets really tight. Like I said, the channels are really narrow, and having, a 5.5-foot draft on our sailboat, you can't get out of the channel sometimes. There's just not room with the shoaling on the outsides. So a barge would be heading my way, and I would literally have this deep panic inside and be like, okay, Matt, it's your turn to drive. Even if he had just handed me the helm, it's like, I don't want to deal with the barge. It used to just be, it's like, I don't know, when you first learn to drive a car and you're driving down the highway and an 18-wheeler's right next to you, and there's a brick wall next to you or a median wall next. It's like there's nowhere to go. What am I supposed to do? And so I've had to learn some strategies for that. So I've just learned that, you know, I can give it a little bit more throttle and feel like I have more control of the boat. If the sails are down, that really helps. Or if the sails are up, I can, like, you know, pull them in until I get past the barge. And that really kind of helps me to feel like I'm more in control, and that this big thing that's heading toward me is not going to run me off the road or whatever. So, and also I've also learned that, you know, you can always radio them and be like, hey, if I'm gonna pass them, which side do you want me to pass you on? You know, that kind of thing. And it really makes it a little more comfortable to where I don't have to be terrified just because I see this big monster ship in my path. So. The fifth thing that I have a little bit of a panic about, or that terrifies me with sailing, is we want to travel outside of the US. We've started our journey in Texas and we left to come up the East Coast, and that in itself was terrifying. We lived in Texas. That's where we're from. And so just leaving there and saying I'm going to live on this sailboat and do this journey has been a little bit terrifying at times. And being in the East Coast of the United States has been pretty simple, and it's really kind of broken me into, oh, I live on my boat, and it's okay to take my boat to these different places and explore new things and have this adventure. And so a little bit of that terrifying, oh my gosh, we've left home, has kind of diminished, because yes, I was terrified, and I'm still a little bit anxious about leaving the United States maybe, but it's more of an anxiousness with an excitement now and less of a terror. See where Cadence can take us and what we can learn about different cultures and different countries. Anyway, I hope that these things that I've learned about sailing that have terrified me along the way, and how I've learned to overcome them, will be a benefit to you if you're kind of nervous or anxious, or if you've thought maybe you couldn't do it. You can. It's something you can grow into, and I feel like I'm growing into that. But enough about the terror. Let's get back to exploring in Annapolis.
Okay, we are heading to Truxant Park. I'm gonna do a little schooling there, a little work, and we met some kiddos last night and some families. So we're gonna see if we can meet some new friends. You looking forward to some park time?
Yeah.
And I will let her play as much as she wants. She can get her work done whenever she needs to.
This weekend?
We'll probably hit a coffee shop up, and you can get some work done there too. What do you think? How's it feel out today?
Cold out here today, but it's fun. We're having a great time. This is the Navy Academy, or Naval Academy. It's so pretty from the water. This is Truxton Park.
Hey, thanks for joining us today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please consider joining our virtual crew. You'll find a link down in the description below.